Hi Facebook, hi Instagram, hi YouTube. This is Cherry again. I would just like to use this time to say and describe how I just got through these times of hardships. I don't know if pandemic is the right word, or should I say COVID-19, and yeah, and what I can give thanks for in these times of hardships, and how I got through and getting through all these um, times. So, I guess some of the things that I say are gonna be like, oh, I don't understand because it's like, oh, it's Bible stuff, but then, yeah, I guess I will explain when I talk, and I hope it's friendly for everybody and not too um like not non-believer friendly, whatever you call it. I just hope that it's content that's friendly for everyone, no matter whether or not you're a believer, or it doesn't matter, or if you just want to know more about Christianity or how I am making positive impact through these times of COVID-19. And yeah, I think that the Bible and God has really helped me to go through this time of um COVID-19, because um he really did give me a really good experience. And so I guess if I were to use one book from the Bible, I guess it would be the New Testament, would be the book of Acts. And I'm not really sure how to describe the book of Acts, but I don't know if you call it Acts of the Disciple or not, but in the book of Acts, there's this person called Paul. I think, is he or is he not? You guys can correct me. One of the disciples of Jesus, and yeah, I'll give you some background information about him. So basically, he persecuted Christians because yeah, he was a non-believer back then, and he became a believer while he was in prison, because before he did that, he imprisoned Christians for believing in Jesus. But then, since he then became a Christian, and then he became in prison because he was persecuted by the people, then he became a Christian while he was in prison, and he knew how it felt to be persecuted. And so I guess when he was in prison, then he wanted to spread the gospel and say to them how and other prisoners that, oh look, I was in prison for being preaching the gospel, but I back then I also imprisoned people for doing that. And he taught people how in his shoes he learned more about Jesus and learned to love him. And so then he was just persecuted because he was spreading the gospel. People didn't like that. And so then it got to one point where he was imprisoned in his house, and because again he was persecuted because he was Christian. And so, you know, when you're in prison, when you're in your house, arrested in your house, they call that house arresting. And so house arrested or whatever, because you're stuck in your house and you're not allowed to go anywhere because of the law or whatever, and you're just stuck at home. But he was still able to preach the gospel of Jesus and spread good energy of there. And by spreading good energy, I mean using his testimony about how Jesus has done great things in his life, and how he showed how he could be positive through that in his faith. And so I guess how can I relate that to the pandemic, I guess, or this COVID, is that I can relate to this. I can relate to Paul because he was also I am, at least from my own personal point of view, I am also in some sort of house arrest. It's actually not actual house arrest, but it is similar because we even though we are not choose to quarantine ourselves, the government does not so to say encourage us to go outside of our houses or our homes because of the virus. And so I don't know how you would relate that to house arrest, but I did because basically when the government disencourages us to leave our house, I mean, not because of preaching the gospel, but because of the virus, and that means that it's basically house arrest, right, quote unquote. But you know what I mean, how it connects. So even though it's because of the virus and not because of the Bible, you can intervene that. I don't know if I'm using the right word. You can just kind of connect and switch. Yeah, you can kind of connect them together and loop them together, and just know what I mean. That because of one reason that we cannot go out there and physically go to preach a gospel or spread positive energy, whether or not it be a virus or preaching the gospel. But one thing that we can do is we can definitely talk about how positive things and optimistic attitudes and positive things that have happened in our lives, and I call that my testimony about how Jesus has done great things to me and given me things to give thanks for and bless me while I was stuck at home. And I guess this is how it is. And yeah, I'll talk about it in my next session.